beforehand, we did a chat about Tommy versus KSI, and you lads thought KSI didn't stand a chance, and that Tommy would school him.
I did say that.
I'm not here to gloat. It's more now after saying that. You've watched Tommy Fury fight two YouTubers. First of all, what's your honest opinion of Tommy Fury?
He's got no chance with any decent light heavies. Or Cruz or wherever he's campaigning at. He should just stay.
Because he said afterwards, "I'm back with the pros. I'm not doing this."
Don't you dare stay where you are.
Chatting crap.
I think he should stay where his bread's getting buttered right now, because he's making good money, and I think it'll almost like be going backwards for him, because he's not going to be able to mix it with the top guys. He's not going to be getting paid. And you imagine you're getting paid millions, and all of a sudden they're offering you a couple of £1,000. Like, I mean, I just think he needs to stay where he's at. I think there's no go. Like, I'm speaking honestly here. If I was offered a fight for millions of pounds in Misfit, and then the pro boxing game was like, I'll give you a few £1,000, I'd be going, no thanks. I'm not interested in them belts anymore.
Well, like, in terms of his level, though, he's
found his level.
He's not good. That's what we learned. We learned in that last fight. We said, and don't get it wrong, I don't know what KSI was doing with the jumping jacks and stuff, but then he should have found a way. He should have looked better than him. And the fact that it was a close fight, and they're saying, I could have won it in points, just lets you know how bad.
I think KSI did win it.
Big John said, I wouldn't have complained if we'd lost the decision.
When you've got
first,
that's what I mean.
Sometimes when you've got guys who are that inexperienced, these lesser guys will bring you down. So. There's a potential he could be better than what we've seen, but based on that performance, you wouldn't think he would.
Could you imagine him against any of the light heavyweights that we look forward to seeing? Like,
listen, I'm a you've got a light heavyweight right here. If I couldn't beat him quite easily, I'd be retiring like straight away. That's the honest assessment of it.
Straight.
Well, you've heard it here now.
Tommy Fury, if you want the fight, I'm sure you don't. We've got 14 rounds from Tommy Fury against YouTubers now, Jake Paul and KSI. He's been dropped once. He's dropped them both 0 times. So I just wanted to hear that because for me, that is the way I feel about him. Now, in terms of KSI and Jake Paul, what do you guys see that fight looking like after now watching them both fight the same guy in very different ways, mind you?
It hasn't changed.
I still think Jake Paul wins.
Jake Paul wins.
He's the more, to be honest, I see Jake as the proper, but he looks like
a boxer, yeah.
He looks like an actual boxer, but like when you're comparing against Tommy, like they both done a similar job.
Yeah.
It wasn't that different. This is where styles make fights, but I've got to go with Jake Paul. But
do you think the KSI style was a little bit like a Coley-like in terms of...
No.
And I don't mean in terms of exact style. I mean the way they thought about the fight, the coaches, they went, we're going to take your jab away and we're going to be very awkward. And that could be really problematic for Jake.
I think it was very much like that. It was one of them, you look at it and think, it's like, that should be easy to beat, but it was obviously harder to deal with, going off Tommy, than it looks like. From what I've heard of people on the boxing scene with Lawrence Okoli, his style's dreadful to watch sometimes, but it's seriously effective when you're in there with him. And sometimes from the outside, it can be very different. I've fought people when I've watched from the outside, thought I would beat them easily, and I've got in there with them sparring or whatever, and I thought, it's a lot different when you're inside there with them.
I just think KSI is not learning how to box. He's learning how to fight. He does these weird things that he's learning. He's clearly been trained by MMA fighters. You see, everything he does is not how a boxer's foundation is being built.
I also think that KSI is probably guilty of training for fights, whereas like Jake looks to me like he's in the gym all year round.
If I'm Jake Paul, I'm wanting a certain type of referee who's going to break up clinching every time and take points away, and I'm wanting the longest fight possible because I feel like KSI's style is very much like a sprinting style.
Yeah,
which is why obviously they went the 6 rounds.
I think 6 rounds was massively in KSI's favour.
Yeah. Even when he's boxing with these guys who should be a lot better, he's obviously got a good brain. Even though technically he doesn't always look that great, he still tactically knows what he's doing. He
executed the game plan.
His mind games in executing the game plan is really good, so I've just got to give him credit for that.
I think for me, my criticism of KSI is not necessarily him and what he's putting out, because he's sticking to the plan that they've put together. It's the coaching that he's getting. He's getting MMA training. It shows in his footwork. It shows in the way he moves. It's like MMA guys who know how to box are ones looking after him, not boxers.
Do you know what I have got to give massive credit to KSI for? the absolute gulf in level of opposition that he jumps to fight Tommy Fury.
Yeah,
Mate,
for real.
like Joe Fournier, you didn't have a fight with Joe Fournier. It didn't go long enough for you to call that a fight. So you've went from YouTube guys, FaZe Tempo or whoever these guys, Swarms and people like that.
Facts,
you went
man.
from fighting them to fighting someone, regardless of his last name being Fury, someone who's had a handful of pro fights
You're right.
and probably maybe 15 amateur
And you know,
fights.
based on the
It's a big
6 round
jump.
thing,
And he's a lot heavier than you.
Just to explain that as well. He lost in negotiations. He gave up. He gave up weight. He
Yeah.
gave up. He's about 15 pounds lighter than Tommy naturally, and he's way less experienced.
Yeah.
He gave up everything.
And he'd actually been out for a little while.
Yeah.
He'd just come back into the YouTube
Yeah.
boxing. So,
full
fair play.
respect.
KSI's
Respect
probably
it.
been training boxing a total of like 3 years in total of
Yeah.
his lifetime.
And he's probably had
Of his
2.5 years gap in between.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he did like a year, then like 3 years off, and then a few years.
Full respect to him for the journey that he's been on. Like from the starting place on YouTube playing FIFA
Yeah.
to being this dude that's like fighting
Imagine
headline
it.
fights against a pro fighter.
Sponsoring big clubs as well.
What a life!
There was a video that came out 10 years
What a
ago.
life.
It was like 10 years ago to the day or whatever. Tommy hitting pads with Big John, looking really good, right? Looking like a killer. And then there's a video of KSI, like, he's just playing FIFA, like, total nerd, right? Total
Mate.
nerd. And it was like, you're one of these motherfuckers who can apply yourself
Absolutely.
in a way that
Absolutely.
other people just can't do. Like, so
Yeah.
fair fuck.
It's funny you should say that because I seen the video on the pads and I thought Tommy hasn't really improved
He's
that
got
much
better.
since then.
No, you're
he,
right,
he looks a
actually.
bit different, but like
Exactly
whereas
the same.
whereas
Is there
the-
not a reason why Tyson doesn't want Big John as his coach, though? Do you know what I mean?
There could be
like,
a
I'm
little
not
bit of
saying
that.
Big John doesn't know boxing, but there's levels, isn't there? And it goes back to what Lennox said about my school teacher
Yeah.
and my degree.
Yes.
You know,
You've
there's
got
two
a
different things.
You got
right?
your primary school, you got your high school, you've got your
And
college.
Big John just knows what he knows, and it's great. But
Right.
if you're Tommy, really,
Decent
you
foundation.
need to go to that next level, man.
It makes you think. Do you imagine if KSI had been boxing from a young age?
That's
Potentially
on
what
my
he could
video. I
have done.
said if Jake Paul and KSI had fought as long in boxing as Tommy, they'd have smoked him
Without
because they've literally been boxing a handful of years. Tommy's been doing it fucking 15.
Yeah,
Catch-
I-
But
catching
you was
up is
right though.
insane.
I have to be fair to you. You were like, I'm telling you now, KSI is going to be ready for that one, and
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
didn't
no,
believe-
Same, I couldn't
Yeah.
see it.
I was
couldn't
like,
see
you're
it.
having a
Well,
laugh.
I've
I
got
said
it.
you're having a laugh.
That's loyalty, man.
I was exactly the same.
I
I was
thought
like,
you're just being a friend.
I was like,
Yeah,
what,
so I thought he was in your Tony Bellew bag.
yeah.
what he's seen that we have.
Yeah,
I was like,
I remember the word brethren bias.
Yeah,
I was
brethren
like,
bias.
okay.
That's the term we use, man.
yeah, because that's a real thing. Listen, we'll talk about Anthony Joshua. I used to train alongside of him on GB, and I know I'm looking through
Absolutely.
beer goggles sometimes when I'm talking about him because
Don't talk about Anthony
I can't
Yards
be clear
to me.
about it.
I'm not
sometimes,
hearing
but
any of that.
That's
Yeah.
what that does. So I thought that was the same with yourself, but
You know what it was though? It was a combination of things though, because I just don't. When I look at Tommy, I'm like, all right, you're all right in that, but you're not. I don't think mentally, Jake, like to come from nothing to what KSI and Jake Paul have achieved.
Incredible.
They're bastards. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like they won't be denied. Like,
Yeah.
you have to be undeniable to achieve that. Tommy's had to walk to where KSI and Jake Paul have had to fucking fly to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tommy's
Oh.
been-
Nice
Tommy's
work.
had it easy.
land,
You know,
yeah.
like he was the brother of Tyson Fury. A reality TV show made him, which was no effort of his own. He just had to turn up.
Nothing.
The girlfriend then puts him on. Like KSI and Jake Paul have had to build empires with their
Yeah.
own two hands.
Yeah.
He's not had to do that.
Yeah.
So I just think that they're both. And again, if they'd both been boxing as long as Tommy, this wouldn't have even been close.
Absolutely.
He
Absolutely.
didn't even win Love Island either. So I've been told.
Couldn't even been.
he wasn't even.
I don't watch it. Obviously, my missus has it on sometimes.
With Tommy, he's ran out of opponents already. There's one left. There's a rematch
So
for
true.
either guy, Jake or KSI. But the reality is the fans don't want Tommy. They want KSI versus Jake Paul. None of the fans care about seeing Tommy ever again.
No.
If Tommy Fury never fights on Misfits again, there's not a single YouTube boxing fan that'll give a solitary fuck.
You know what the fans might. You know what the fans. You know what the fans.
He's not
might
from
want,
their world, though.
What the fans might want is fights that they see Tommy as an underdog in, and you're thinking, well, there's not any because he's fought the top guys. Actually, potentially, we look at the contracts that the MMA guys are on and the pay they're getting, and there's certain MMA fighters you could draft in there, and you could go, oh,
that's a
maybe.
good shout.
And
I'll
I'll
give
tell
you
you
an
another thing: it
example.
don't pay as well, but there is one fight that everyone's ignoring, and it's probably because it doesn't pay as well. Tommy against Idris Virgo. That's the fight, isn't it? That's the fight,
to be
isn't
fair,
it?
that is
true.
the fight that I
That's
said.
the fight.
That's the only interesting one. But again, I'm
And
not
they've been
sure how
keeping
much
Virgo
interest.
away
It's
on purpose.
But is it going to be enough interest for Tommy Fury? Because now he's earned big money against KSI and Jake Paul. I personally think he knew that was the ceiling limit for how much money he could earn in the YouTube world.
So tell me as a boxer, tell me, let's just hypothetically, YouTube boxers, right? You earn 10 million fighting Jake Paul
Bye.
and KSI. Yeah. So the only, like, Logan Paul ain't going to happen, and the likelihood is we might never even see KSI, Jake Paul, because I think both of those guys will go, I fought a pro, it went close, that's enough for me, and maybe they might do it one more time, I don't know. But the reality is, all of these other fights are going to pay substantially less.
Yeah.
There's Idris Virgo, Misfits are signing Darren Till, the UFC fighter who's now boxing Smith, the Liverpool gym with Smith lads. He's a threat to Tommy. I think he could hurt Tommy potentially, but none of those fights are going to give you 5 million each.
So
Why did Vidal Riley lead the room? I know he said that he's gone the wrong way, and he was always talking about Tommy, Vidal and Tommy, and it's easy because it's almost the storyline of I'm here to avenge what KSI couldn't do, and I'm KSI's friend. I'm surprised that he said, I'm not interested no more. I'm going that way. That was weird.
Vidal knows fine well that Tommy ain't going to fight him because Vidal knows he'd kill Tommy.
But also,
and that the Furies, as clever as they are as matchmaking, won't put Tommy anywhere near Vidal.
But then let's look forward to the next chapter when Vidal Riley is now a respected fighter in the real ranks and decides his next fights will be on Misfits. It's a game changer because if he becomes a prominent cruiserweight, let's say he gets a world title and he goes over there with his following and the Misfit audience, then that future.
Do we think Tommy Fury's got the balls to get in the ring with Vidal? Genuinely?
No, not now. Not
I think he backs himself as a Fury, though. Ain't he got that Fury? Ain't he got that Fury? You know.
Sorry, but I honestly don't think he believes in himself. But how can you after the performances against two YouTubers who?
No, but even now, you're talking about the ego. We're talking about the ego, not like the performance.
There's a level of
that
ego.
says I can fight this guy.
Yeah, there's a level of ego, and then when you get in there and you struggle, like, you know what I mean.
But how much ego does he actually have? He doesn't do much talking. It's his dad that's right next to him.
No. I don't think you were following it. Like, he said on the run to KSI, I will stop you in 3 rounds, and it'll probably be in the first round. And he has the real sad bit for me. Big John on this video call with KSI goes, my boy will stop you, I'll bet you. And it was like 200 grand bet, right? KSI's like, whatever, that's chump change to me. Yeah, I'll take the bet, you can't stop me. KSI obviously doesn't get stopped, but Tommy gets the nod. John has somehow not remembered the bet the way it was, and he's demanding the 200 grand from KSI. Well, we beat you, and he's like, that's not the fucking bet though.
You know, when
you owe me 200 grand. You didn't stop me.
When we were saying there about the potential career path, right? Okay, say boxes Virgo, say boxes Darren Till, right? None of them pay anywhere near the same amount as Jake Paul, and they don't pay the same amount as KSI. If we say that Jake Paul and KSI fight each other, and then they're not going to fight Tommy, and Logan Paul goes off, dubs WWE, and he ain't going to fight Tommy. Well, then, although that Idris Virgo bag don't pay nowhere near as much as those two fights, I tell you what, it pays a hell of a lot more than he's going to earn in boxing. So in pro boxing, sorry. So maybe there is a situation there where you go, all right, I'm not going to earn the same amount as I earn against KSI and whatnot, but I'll take it.